Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited. I'm
I'm
excited.
excited too. It's
But
a pleasure to be here.
yeah. So, you are the definition of raising the ceiling. So, I want to go back to your journey. What was it like growing up being deaf, blind?
So I was born profoundly deaf, and I got my cochlear implant when I was 2, and
Okay.
so
I also have a cloak win too.
yeah.
What number do you have?
I have the N7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what about you?
I just recently got the upgrade 8.
Oh,
so it's
okay, nice.
It's basically the same thing. You know how like the iPhone, it's like the 7 and 8 and 13.
Right.
But yeah, same shit.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
But yeah, no, I actually, my parents are both hearing, and 90% of deaf children are born to hearing parents. So I actually have an older brother who's 2 years older than me, and he was born deaf. So he was actually the very first person that my parents met that was deaf. And so,
wow. Lucky you. You have a deaf brother. I have zero.
Really?
I'm the only one. Sad.
How many siblings do you have?
Three.
3. Oh wow. Yeah, I have 4. I'm sorry, I have 3 older brothers, and one of them is deaf as well. So, I've been very fortunate to have a sibling that also understands. But growing up, my parents did not treat us any differently. They're like, you're going to still engage in different activities. You're not, like, they didn't let our disability hold us back. When there was educators, they're like, oh, maybe we should have them not take standardized tests. And my parents are like, absolutely not. They're going to take it just along the other kids are too. So they were very supportive and loving, but they still taught that my brother and I still had disability. It wasn't until my adulthood that I actually was diagnosed as legally blind. I knew I was losing my vision at 7, but I spent all these years in denial. I'm like, oh yeah, I would go blind one day. Ha ha ha. Just way to process. But yeah, that denial hit hard when I turned 27 and I was actually diagnosed as legally blind.
So,
and hi, Mara.
How is when people think they're blind, you can't see nothing? So is it the same concept like with different levels of hearing loss and different types of levels of blindness, or correct me if I'm wrong, I'm right?
No, you're correct.
Okay.
I mean, there's different degrees of vision, but there's also different kinds of blindness. So when I started my social media platform, I learned of this disease called Stargardt disease, and forgive me if I mispronounced it. But basically, so with Usher syndrome, we have peripheral vision loss. So my vision is narrowing. But with Stargardt's, they have their central vision is they can't see centrally, but they can see peripherally. So it's the opposite of Usher syndrome, which I thought that was very interesting. And there's different types of blindness out there, and a lot of times people don't understand that blindness is a spectrum. And when I say, "Oh, I'm blind," and people are like, "But you're looking right at me. You're looking right at the camera. So how are you blind?" I'm like, "No, I can see, but then like my hands, like if I put in certain positions, I can't see my hands, or even like my lower body, I can't see." So there's certain things I can and can't see.
Wow. Okay, that's good. So you always get that people say you're blind, but you can see, but you're deaf, you can talk. You always get that?
Oh, absolutely. Like, and it's so important to know that, blind people are able to do things. Like, we just need modifications. I have a white cane that I utilize, and sometimes I may not even be using my white cane, and that confuses people because they're like, but how are you not? You were just using your white cane, and now you're not. Sometimes all it takes for me to get comfortable with my surroundings, then I may not need it. So it's just people just have to understand that, if you're not sure, it's okay to ask. But if a person doesn't want to answer, don't get offended. We have the choice to share or don't share.
Okay. So, for anybody on the audience, if you have any questions, just drop in the chat. So my next question is, what was it like growing up in school? So can you tell me the process? You have your hearing loss, then you have your coke implant, and tell me what was that experience like growing up in school?
Yeah. So I grew up mainstream, meaning I went to a hearing school throughout my life. So that was a bit of a challenge. I got bullied for my hearing loss like in middle school and also high school. But then once
you're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah. And fortunately, I had my brother. Okay. But my brother and there was one other kid. We were the only 3 kids with hearing loss out of almost 1,000 students at our school. Or at least I knew of that was actually known, and it was a struggle because trying to explain to people about my hearing loss was a struggle, and I was bullied up until 9th grade. So they would whisper my name, and then I would look around trying to figure out who said it, and then they would giggle. And one day, I just was like, "Shut up!" And the whole class just stopped and looked at me, and I just even my teacher was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah." And then that ever since, I have never been bullied since then. So wow. Yeah. And my advice is just stand up for yourself. Like, don't allow people to taunt you or bully you for your disability. And I know it's easier said than done because it took me years to stand up for myself. But it is so important to understand that you are not alone. There's so many of us out there, and the power. Sometimes people say social media can be a negative thing. However, the power of social media can be a positive thing as well because it has connected me to so many amazing, wonderful people, especially like you. Through social media. So it's just you're never alone in this journey, and there's always someone out there that can even relate to what we're currently going through, even at this moment.
Okay, we have a question. It says, how did your big brother help you with your journey when you was younger? Are you comfortable sharing with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like your big Kelly. It seems like your big brother was like your security. Like
yeah. Absolutely. No, he was amazing. When there was some hardships, we would lean on each other during those times and share, words of encouragement. And I'm forever grateful for him. Even though we butt heads, we really butt heads. But I wouldn't change it for the world because, he's still to this day is so supportive. Like, if there's anything he need or vice versa, we're there for each other. And especially now, we're going through the vision loss transition and understanding what it actually means to be blind. We're really lean on each other more than ever, and it's really special bond that we have.
I also have another question. So, what advice would you give someone to stand up for themselves and self-advocate for themselves? It seems like you have a very support system, but some other people don't have that support system, like your big brother. They might feel isolated. They might be close into themselves. So, what advice would you give someone to that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I recommend therapy. That's something I wish I had done when I was younger. I was very stubborn, like, oh, I'm fine, like, I don't need therapy. And I think even back in the day, there was such a big stigma towards therapy. And, and nowadays, it's like, focus on your mental health. That is so important. And, having a disability really can impact your mental health. So it's just so important that seek out help when you feel like you're really struggling with your disability, your hearing loss, your vision loss, whatever your disability is. It is so important to be able to talk to somebody about it and talk it out. Like, seek out a community. If you don't have anybody around you, find somebody that can help support you, and also seek out a therapist. I'm a strong advocate for therapy and counseling.
That's a very great advice. So I want to get back to schools. So did you self-advocate your in the, like, going to school, like raise your hand, like combination, I need some extra time, I need X and Y, Z? Did you self-advocate? So, and what advice would you give someone to self-advocate themselves during whatever it's in high school or college or beyond?
Absolutely. My parents instilled self-advocacy in my brother and I in such a young age, which really helped me, even to this day. What I would recommend is, if you don't know where to start, is just start by going, if you're in high school, start by going to your IEP meetings. Like, you ultimately know what you need. Not your teacher, not your parents. Like, they're not there. They're not experiencing your disability. You know what you need. So I would recommend just starting by going to your own IEP meetings and being involved in that. And, you just build from there. And finding that encouragement to, like, okay, hey, Mr. Mrs. So-and-so, you're speaking too soft. Can you raise your voice a little bit? Like, just baby steps. You don't have to jump all the way in. And if you are in college, start by going to it's different names for each college, but, Office of Disability or Disability Services. So start by going them and, sharing that you have a disability, and just start getting accommodations through them. I never used a digital a DM, a Roger system in high school.
You mean FM system?
Yeah, FM system, yeah. Okay. And FM system is actually now an outdated term. It's now called a DM.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so, like, a Roger system. Okay. Yeah. So basically, I never utilized that in high school. I used it when I was in middle school. We had, like, a speaker box, and the teacher will wear a microphone, and it would be a speaker on my desk. And, I would turn it up so I can hear. And I hated it because it really brought attention to me. And when I was just trying to be a kid to fit in and just, be a normal kid. So I never utilized something like that until I got to college. There was an educational audiologist. Her name is Dr. Carrie Spangler. And she was like, she had demo equipment, and she's like, just try it. And I'm like, no, I tried it and I hate it. She's like, no, just try it. And I remember when I put on the receiver and she started talking, there was just tears flowing. I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, it really brought sound right into my ear. It was phenomenal. And ever since then, I used it religiously throughout college and even grad school. So basically, just find these different accommodations that's going to work best for you. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. I know you mentioned disability, but sometimes we have the stigma, the definition of disability. What does disability means to you?
Mm-hmm. So I never viewed myself as a disabled person growing up. I was just a person with hearing loss. I never was like, oh yeah, I have a disability. I was just, I'm deaf, or I have a hearing loss. And it wasn't until my mid-20s, when I was diagnosed as legally blind, it really changed my mindset. Because when I heard disability growing up, I'm like, it's such a negative word. I just like, I don't like that word. But now I fully embrace that term. I'm like, yeah, I am disabled and I'm proud of it. It's who I am. I do have some limitations. I can't hear. I can't see always, and that is okay. And I'm proud of it. It makes me who I am. It makes me unique. And disability is not a bad word. I actually did a presentation at one of the speech and audiology conferences, and that was something we shared, that disability is not a bad word. And I think people need to understand that and not use terms like differently abled or special needs. I think these are terms that I guess able-bodied people use to make themselves feel better. Like, oh my God, I can't say disability. It's like, no, please use it. And it's okay. It's not offensive. It's okay to use.
Wow. Okay. So I look at disability as a motivation. It can either stop you or motivate you. Just because someone handed you, because in this world we're all labeled. Mm-hmm. So if somebody give you a disability, it's up to you to decide whether if you're going to define it or let it motivate you. You are the definition. You told yourself you were not going to let that condition to limit you or stop you. You decided to get up and figure out what you want to do, and you're going to let that as a motivation. You are a audiologist, author, speaker, and beyond. You are a living proof that, like, challenge the status quo. And to my next question, like, what shifted your mindset from not letting your hearing loss and being blind stopping you pursuing person you are today?
Well, that's a great question. And thank you for all what you said. That was very kind of you. That really means a lot. And same with you. Like, you are phenomenal, and I appreciate you even putting this together. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because I want to show other people it's possible. Someone just like you have the similar condition as you. They are getting their ass up and making things happen for themselves. And once they see that, they question themselves, like, if this person can do it, I can do it too. So
absolutely.
Yeah. But go on. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that is my motivation. I feel like people are like, how do you do this? Like, how do you keep going? And I'm just like, well, this is my life. Like, I like you said, like, you let it define you. You let it basically tear you down, or you let it push you. And I choose, to let it push me. I want to show people that people with disabilities can do whatever they want to, whatever they set their mind to. Obviously, there's going to be limitations, but then you make those modifications to overcome those limitations. And I think people think, oh, you're blind. Why do you need to travel? Like, what's there to see? Oh, you can't hear. Why are you at a concert? Like, people can be so narrow-minded that I feel, me having this platform really opens people's perspective and be like, oh, wait, blindness doesn't mean you can't see completely nothing. Blindness can mean that you can see some. Oh, hearing loss doesn't mean you can't hear anything. You can still hear. Like, I just want to really open people's mindset and show that we're fully capable.
Did somebody inspire you or motivate you? Was there like a movie that what was the experience like shifting your mindset? There gotta be some part of your journey was like, I can't be complacent. I am I'm beyond the label of how somebody perceive it. Was there a shift or like an age or a story?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, my legally blind diagnosis was a shift in my mindset. That at that time, I was really feeling sad because I was literally told that I would never go blind. I would not go blind in my lifetime. And getting that legally blind diagnosis, I was like, wait, I was so confused. I'm like, I thought I wasn't going to go blind. And I also was confused because I'm like, how am I blind when I can see? Like, it was such a mind twist. Like, I was just like, it took me a second to process it. And so at that moment, to kind of help cope, that's when I wrote my children's book, Extraordinary Jordan and Her Bionic Ears. I have my copy right here. And that honestly was such a therapeutic moment for me. And that was the moment where I'm like, I really want to get out there and share my story and share, more awareness about what Usher syndrome is. So that way there could be more research. Like, I'm proud of my hearing loss. That's something I would never want to change. However, I will admit, I'm scared to go blind. That is something that I struggle with to this day, and I'm still working through. And I just really want to spread awareness about Usher syndrome and hopes of more research can be shown or help with funding and whatnot to help find a cure for blindness. And this is so important to note. Not everybody wants to be fixed. Not every person who has a disability, because if you give me a cure to be have normal hearing, I would not take that, and I would reject that in a heartbeat, because I love to be able to sleep at night without my processor on. I love just having that silence when I want that silence. So not everybody wants to be fixed. And I think it's so important to understand that, hey, like, don't try to fix everybody. Some people are okay with who they are and where they are.
That's a good thing. That's one thing I love about it. I can take it off. I can sleep peacefully. No fireworks, all those sound noise. I can sleep peacefully. That's the best part. Not able to have that gift. So I love how you turn that a negative into a positive. And another thing, I also love how you turn your challenges into opportunities, like how you became an author. So my next question is, what inspired you to become an author? And what was the journey like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, several reasons. Like I said, with my whole blind diagnosis is one of the reasons why I wrote the book. Representation, you don't often to see a person of color, a Black disabled child in children's books. Like, that is a rarity. I never had that growing up. So I decided to create one of my own. And when I'm out and about and doing different events and I see little girls who have cochlear implants, then they'll look at the book and point to their ears. Or when I see little girls with the same hairstyle, and they're like, oh my gosh. And nothing is more rewarding seeing other kids or even adults seeing, wow, like, this is something I needed. And this is why I do what I do. And also, like, some of the parts in this story is based on a true story. As I said, I was bullied, and when I said earlier about the whole whispering, that's actually in the story, and that actually happened to me in real life. So it was very, very therapeutic to just write it down in the story and just share the story.
Where people can buy it and support you? Where can people buy it and support you?
Absolutely. You can buy the book on my website, drjasminesimmons.com, or you can buy the paperback version on amazon.com.
Okay, so go buy her book on Amazon or go her website. I really love this. As I was like, wow, I was really very impressed. I like the artwork. I like the story. I love the beginning. The boy was teasing you, and at the end, he shifted his mindset. Like, wow, something unique about him, because the boy wanted to be what was it, astronaut or space something. But yeah. It was very creative and unique, and I really enjoyed it. And this is a great reputation, woman of color. It's just like, wow, beyond. And you should be proud of yourself. And like, wow, this is very impressive, Jasmine. And I love how you use your deafness as a purpose, a drive. Like you have like a mission. You are a leader. So you should be pat yourself in the back and be proud of yourself.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I have two more questions before we wrap this up. So do you have any upcoming projects or books exciting you want to share with us?
Yeah, I actually was just going to mention my second book is in the works. It's actually being illustrated as we speak. My illustrator is going to be sending me some stuff this week, and I'm so excited.
What can we see it next year, 2 years, 3 years?
I'll share. I'm gonna share like little sneak peeks.
Okay.
I have full intentions on keep sharing or keeping you guys along this journey.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, we'll be looking forward towards that. So, my last final question before we wrap up this live show: what advice would you give someone who's going through adversity? What would you give that? What would you tell them?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're not alone in this journey. There is someone else there feeling the same way or same things you are feeling. Find support groups, lean on other people. If you have other people, lean on other people. And sometimes, grieving is not linear. There's going to be ups and downs. And, I think it took a while for me to truly understand that. Because, I'm like, oh, I really was fine. And then the next day I'm a wreck, and it's okay to be up and down. So give yourself grace and lean on other people.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining this live show. I can't wait to see you what's beyond your career and keep motivating the next generation, because we need more people like you. So please, where people can follow you at? support you, anything. They can follow your Instagram. You have Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on.
Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also my website. But to note, my website is under construction, so be kind.
No worries. People can go follow that button and follow Jasmine. Go show some love and support. Go order her book. And we are rooting for you, and we can't see what's next for you, Jasmine.
Thank you so much. It is so a pleasure to be here today, and a pleasure to speak with you.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you.